said that, your face was kind of like this. I said relationship with Jesus, and you're like, oh no. Oh man, here comes that corny Christian talk. I thought Joel was cool, but obviously he's on crack. I mean, I can see you here. And so, you know what? If you think it sounds a little weird, or a little corny, or a little whatever for you to hear me say that what has really given me meaning in life is my relationship with God, I can relate to you, because here's the thing. I grew up in a town where my parents drugged me to church every Sunday, and I would always hear these dudes in my church, these preachers talking about a relationship with Jesus, and I don't know about you, but I thought they were insane. I did. Because I thought, come on, if Jesus really exists, then he must be in heaven, or whatever. And I'm on earth, and so if he's way up there and I'm way down here, then that is a seriously long-distance relationship. And so, you know, I thought that can't be real. And so I figured all that relationship with Jesus stuff, well, I figured that was just church talk. You know, that's just religious talk. That's just something church people say. That's not real. That's what I thought. The only problem is that when I would be alone and I would think about God, or when I would be alone and I would think about like the big questions of life, you know, the stuff that everybody thinks about but people don't like to talk about, you know, like what's the meaning of life, or yeah, or when I would think about kind of what Eddie was talking about, like why is it that when I look in the mirror I realize like not only am I flawed, but I am a messed up person. Like, why is the world so messed up? Why am I so messed up inside? And the big thing for me when I would think about what's going to happen to me when I die. Like, I don't know if you guys think about that stuff, but when I would think about that, honestly, I would get really uncomfortable. And to be honest with you, I would get kind of scared when I thought about those things. And that changed for me when I was a freshman in high school, all right? When one day, and this is really what I want to share with you guys, one day my life totally changed when this guy at my church, this pastor at my church, just explained the whole relationship with Jesus thing in a way that made a lot of sense, and it was in a way that ultimately changed my life. And he basically said this to me. He said, Joel, here's the truth, man. The truth is that all of us, he said, Joel, you were created by God to be in a real relationship with God. That's actually why you were created. And I was like, okay, that sounds good. He said, but there's a problem, Joel, and the problem is that you have totally messed it up. And I was like, well, thank you very much. You know, but that's pretty much what he said. He said, the truth is that even though we were created to know God and to love God, all of us, each and every one of us, have actually turned away from God to live for ourselves instead of him. We've gone our own way, done our own thing, living to serve ourselves instead of God. And because we've turned from God, the relationship that we were supposed to have with him has been destroyed. The reason we feel so empty and so alone is because we're separated from our Creator. And not only that, because we've turned away from the Creator of the universe, what we deserve is to be apart from him forever. This guy literally said to me, he said, Joel, what you deserve is to go to hell. And I was like, okay. You know, but then he continued, he said, you know what? Even though that's what we deserve, let me tell you the best news in the whole world, and that's this, that even though we deserve that, God is so amazing, God is so loving, that get this, about 2,000 years ago, God himself actually came to earth on a rescue mission to save you from what you deserve. God came to earth as a man named Jesus, and Jesus did what you could never do for yourself. Jesus lived a perfect life, but then he went and literally died for what you've done wrong. When Jesus died on the cross, what he was doing was literally dying as your substitute, all right? He was dying in your place, on your behalf, paying the penalty you deserve to pay. And then 3 days later, Jesus rose from the dead, proving he's the king of the universe. And he said to me, this pastor said, Joel, if you would simply give up living for yourself. Right now, you're living to serve yourself. If you give that up, turn from yourself and turn to Jesus and ask him to forgive you, ask him to save you. If you trust him to do that, he will. He'll forgive you, not because you deserve it, but because he loves you. And I don't know about you, but I've never really heard it explained that way. Like, even though I grew up going to church, I had this idea that like the way you get to heaven is to like earn it. You know, I thought good people go to heaven and bad people go to hell, and so do a bunch of good stuff, try to avoid killing anybody, and you should be good. Like, that's what I thought, but then I realized that, you know what, if we're honest with ourselves, we have to realize none of us are good enough. We're all a wreck. But that's why Jesus came, to pay the price for us. I needed to simply turn to Jesus. And so I did that. I was a freshman in high school at the time, and I'm telling you what, when I took that step and asked Jesus to save me, I'm telling you, my life totally changed. He changed everything about me. I had a relationship with God. That's when I found the fulfillment that I've been looking for in the game of football, and I'm telling you, my life changed. So, you know, I can see there's all kinds of people here. I can see just looking out here that there's a lot of you that aren't interested in what I'm talking about right now. So if you're not interested, you know, just sit tight. I'm almost done. But I can also see there's a lot of you that are interested. And for those of you that are, if you could just forget, like, everybody else is here. Forget there's all these distractions. And pretend like it's just me and you, all right? And let me just ask you, let me just challenge you. Like, do you know that you were created by God? But do you realize that you, just like me, you've messed it up because you've done your own thing, you've lived for yourself instead of him, and because you've turned from God, you're separated from him and you deserve to be apart from him forever. I do realize it. That's why we're so messed up inside. Do you get that? But did you know that Jesus came to fix that? Jesus died for you because he loves you. He rose from the dead. Did you know that? Have you turned to Jesus and said, Jesus, please forgive me. Please save me. I want to be forgiven. I want to know you. That's my challenge. And if you'd say, you know what, Joel, I've never done that. I don't know Jesus, but I want to. I want to be forgiven. I want my life to be changed. And to you, I would say, you know what, anytime, any place, you can take that step too. Just like I've done, just like the guys in the band have done. You can know Jesus, and I would challenge you to do that. You can, even tonight, you could cry out and you could pray and say, Jesus, please forgive me, please save me. That's my challenge for you. And I would even ask you, what would be keeping you from that? And maybe you say, you know what, I'm not so sure about all this stuff. Well, then to you, I would say at least dig deeper, at least keep asking questions and learning more about Jesus. And in fact, I'm kind of curious what you think about what I've been saying about Jesus. So you just heard a lot from me. Now I want to hear from you. So I want to ask you to do something. Take out your phone. Take out your phone. Take it out. And I'm going to challenge everybody to do this. I want you to let me know what you think about what I just said. So could you please send me a message? I use Instagram the most. Send me a DM, or you could tweet at me. And if...
Why on the phone? Larry, is your phone?
Send